Hello, good day, everyone. I believe I can be heard, right? Yeah. So I'd like to welcome you all to the Big Push Bootcamp. Yes. Hello, good day, everyone. My name is Godson Inchi, and yeah, most of you know me. I was the same instructor who handled the virtual AI and machine learning bootcamp here on Guard Academy. Yeah. So this is a new bootcamp altogether, and we have 6 professional courses that we are going to walk you through, right? Yes, and the first course we are taking you through is prompt engineering, right? Yeah, prompt engineering is a very, very important skill that you must have in today's age of artificial intelligence, right? That is why we thought it wise to introduce this to you as part of the entire bootcamp, right? And the most important thing is the reason why we are taking this course as the first course under the Big Push Bootcamp is because most of the principles that we have here would be applied in the upcoming courses. So you would have to take your time and make sure you understand every single thing that we teach you here vividly and make sure you apply them in the upcoming courses, right? Good. So without explaining too much, right? Today we are going to tackle prompt engineering. Yes, and in fact, it's going to be an amazing ride. So sit back, take your notes and pens, make sure you jot down some notes, right? And you can also practice as I explain the various concepts to you, right? But then I would advise you to understand what I teach before you apply so you don't get divided attention, right? Good. So I have very good and summarized content for you today. And first, we are going to start with module one, right? Right, good. So, first, we are going to explain what a prompt is. Good. So, when we talk about a prompt, right, a prompt basically is the input text or instruction you give to an AI system to tell it what you want it to do. Yes. Now, we want to define what prompt engineering is. We want to make the explanation very clear, right? Good. So, what we are going to do is we would explain what a prompt is, then we explain engineering, then we combine the two concepts to explain what prompt engineering is. I just realized that most of you are not seeing what I'm trying to show you guys here. So, let me just use it in this form. Okay, right, good. So, when we talk about a prompt is the input text or instruction you give to an AI system to tell it what to do. Now, so we have a simple analogy here, right? So a prompt is like the request to make to a knowledgeable assistant. When I say a knowledgeable assistant, an example is an LLM, large language model. So ChatGPT and the rest, they are all knowledgeable assistants. When you make a request, it can give you a response based on its knowledge. Yes. Or it's a question you ask or the task you assign, or it is the starting point that triggers the AI's response. You get it? So basically, a prompt is your input to an AI system, as simple as ABCD. Now, we also know what engineering is, right? Good. So basically, engineering is the systematic application of knowledge, methods, and techniques to design, build, and optimize something to solve a specific problem or achieve a specific goal. Good. Now, I want you guys to take note of this systematic application. Systematic application. Good. So, these are some of the keywords I want you to put in mind: systematic, intentional, iterative, replicable, and then problem solving. Good. So, we are now going to, since we now know what engineering is and what a prompt is, we are now going to combine the two concepts to explain what prompt engineering is. Good. So, initially we mentioned that a prompt is basically the instruction you give to an AI. And engineering, I made you guys take note of systematic design and optimization. Good. So when we combine these two concepts, what we are trying to explain is that prompt engineering is the systematic practice of designing, structuring, and refining AI instructions to consistently achieve specific high quality results. So that is what prompt engineering is. As simple as ABC, right? Good. So I want you guys to take note of this. To achieve specific high quality results. The reason why we are doing this is because most people use AI systems or knowledgeable assistants like Google. So Google, when you want to search something, so let's say you want to search what is okay, so what is happening in Benin, right? Good. So this is just a request you make, right? And because Google is a search engine, it's going to find matching results. It's going to make a search and return matching results for you based on your query, right? So because we have lived in this whole area of search engines, most people still use their strategies or the way they make queries on search engines as the same way they make requests on AI systems. Good. So there's a big difference here, right? And that is what we are going to do today in the prompt engineering class. Good. So one thing you have to note is garbage in is equal to garbage out. When you give your AI system garbage, it's going to return garbage to you. But then when you give it very good specific instruction, it is going to give you high quality specific results. So that is the goal of this training, right? Good. It sounds very simple, but trust me, a lot goes into prompt engineering than you think, right? So let's take our time and make sure we understand every single thing here. Now, someone would be like, I've taken prompt engineering courses, but then I don't see any serious engineering design, just like how engineering students, you'll be designing some stuff, you'll be doing complex calculations and all that, right? But then I've taken prompt engineering courses, I don't see anything like that. So why that? Now, the engineering part matters because one, when you are creating a prompt, you need a very good structure. So, like, let's take civil engineers as an example, right? So whenever they have a, whenever they are set to build a project, right, they come up with an architecture, they come up with a blueprint. So that is what is going to guide them to build the project successfully based on the design they have. So same thing applies in prompt engineering. Before you can give the AI system a very good instruction, you need a very good structure. So prompt engineers use frameworks. So we will get there. RSCEF, COT. These are some of the frameworks you are going to use. So structure is very important. And we also have testing. So there is something called quality assurance. It's usually used in software engineering, right? And engineers test their designs repeatedly. So even mechanical engineers, when they are building a project, right, they have a simple design, they test it, they check if it works before they move on to the next stage. You get it? So same thing applies for prompt engineers. So prompt engineers use A/B tests. I mean to test different prompts, right? Good. So same thing happens, right? Sometimes you want to create a content. You get it? You give it a prompt. You give, let's say, Claude a prompt. Claude gives you a very good response, right? But then the content doesn't perform well on, let's say, X or LinkedIn, right? But then another day you try another prompt and you realize that that prompt gave you a very good response, and that response, based on the content it generated, you were able to generate about 1 million impressions on LinkedIn or X. Do you get it? So that's another way of testing prompts. You get it? We also have optimization, we have documentation, etc. etc. You get it? So I'll share this canvas with you, then you guys can read them, right? Yeah, so this is just the most important part. So at this point, we all understand what prompt engineering is, right? Good. So we are going to apply the concepts we've learned here in a more detailed way. Good. So before we learn how to write prompts or give instructions to AI systems, we have to understand how LLMs work. Now, when I say LLM stands for large language model, right? Okay, so what is an LLM? So short for large language model, right? Good. So let me use okay. So a large language model is a type of artificial intelligence program that can recognize and generate text among other tasks. LLMs are trained on huge sets of data, hence the name large. LLMs are built on machine learning, specifically a type of neural network called a transformer model. So you've been using LLMs often. I mean, you use ChatGPT, you use Claude, you use Gemini. All of them are large language models, right? Good. So we have to know how they work. So the thing is that you are the human, you are the user, you are interacting with a knowledgeable assistant, right? Now you give an input, so that is the prompt. You get it? Now there's something we call tokenizer or processing. So what happens is that when it takes your prompt, your text, right, it tokenizes it. You get it? So you can see, I don't want to dive deep into all these things, else I might confuse a lot of people. Most of you are new to AI and all that. So just think it as a way that the LLM can understand it. You get it? Good. So once that is done, we have the large language model, or we have the neural network, right? So we have the tokenizer, that is the processing, and we have the detokenizer, that is the generation. You get it? So once it's done with this stage, it now generates the text response for you. You get it? Good. So there are certain key concepts that you have to know. I mentioned tokenizer here. I mentioned detokenizer here. You have to know what a token is. So one thing about AI systems is that they read in chunks. So when we talk about chunks basically means something small. You get it? So tokens refers to the smallest unit of text an AI processes. Do you get it? So if it's, let's say, words, sentences, part of words, punctuation, and all that, they are called tokens. So it's the smallest unit of text an AI processes. So example, when you say hello world, it simply means 2 tokens, 2 words, right? Good. Now, another thing you have to also know is context window, right? Context window simply means the AI's memory, and it is basically the total amount of text that is input and output the AI can see at once. You get it? Yeah. Context window would you would really apply it when you are building, let's say, AI systems like chatbots, RAG. Yes, when you are building RAG systems, when you are building chatbots, you see context window a lot. Yeah, this is just prompt engineering, but I just wanted to introduce them to you. And we also have something we call temperature, right? So temperature simply means the the creative configuration around all these AI systems. You get it? So if you set the temperature of an AI system to be low, so if it's around 0.3, so the range is from 0.0 to 1.0, right? And then it controls the randomness in AI responses. So when you set it to low, it gives you consistent factual responses. You get it? But then when you set it to high, it gives you creative or more varied response. Do you get it? So let's say you want to write a report. So you are creating a report on structural integrity of a metal. With this, you need facts. Do you get it? You need facts. You need consistent facts. So you can set the AI system, you can set the temperature to 0.3, so you can control the randomness. Now, when you are doing brainstorming, when you want to be more creative or imaginative, right, you want to brainstorm, right? With this one, we need more creative and varied responses so that we can pick ideas from it. So for more varied ideas, then we can pick the best ones. You get it? So you can set the temperature to be what? Very high. You get it? Good. So with this one, it will be very good when you apply this in building AI agents. You can learn no code AI agents using N8N. And when you get to a point where you are setting up an agent for, let's say, an AI agent, a conversational AI agent, you would see all these features there. So you can apply them, right? So 0.0 to 0.3 and all that, you can do that. Now, there's also something we call model picker, right? Now, I explained what large language models are. I mentioned ChatGPT, I mentioned Claude, I mentioned Gemini. Now, all these models are good at specific tasks. You get it? So it's not a one size fits all, right? Most of us we just use ChatGPT for everything. Even if it's image generation, ChatGPT, video generation, you want ChatGPT to do it. Everything you want to use ChatGPT. No, it doesn't work like that. There are different models, right? And based on the task you want to do, right, you would have to select the best model for it. Good. So GPT-4 is best all round. I mean, coding. Claude long documents is good for analysis. Gemini is Google integration, is good for research and all that. But then I have a very good image here for you guys, right? So you can follow this guy on LinkedIn. It's called Charlie Hills, right? Yeah, he's an AI content marketer, and you can get a lot of these concepts from him, right? So you realize that we have the tool, we have what it does, and we have the best LLM. So when you want to do web search, right, you want to browse the internet, right? You see, actually, when you look for something on Google, Google is going to give you matching results. But then when you want an AI system that can crawl on the internet and give you all the matching results, organized in a well structured and in a well structured content for you, you can use Perplexity, because Perplexity is good at web search. You get it? When it comes to deep research, Gemini 2.5 is very good. When it comes to file uploads, Claude Opus 4.0 is good. When it comes to memory, ChatGPT is good. When it comes to projects, etc., etc. So it's like all these systems have specific things they are good at, right? Another thing I'll share this with you so you can go through it. Another thing is that with this, right, this is the legend. Best is star. Yes, it means it can do it. No, it means it can't do it, right? So when it comes to everyday answers, all the large language models can do it because they have been trained on large data, and it makes them knowledgeable. So when you make a request, it can give you a response, right? But then, according to research, people are saying ChatGPT is the best when it comes to everyday answers. Now, when it comes to writing, when it comes to creating content, when it comes to, let's say, content creation, writing textual content, LinkedIn content, email copy, and all that, Claude is the best, right? ChatGPT can do it, yes. The rest of them can do it, but then Claude is the best. You get it? Now, when it comes to coding, Claude is the best. Today we have Claude Code. If you are using premium, you can use Claude Code, right? Yes, and Claude Code is so amazing. It's so amazing, right? When it comes to reasoning, ChatGPT is the best. The rest of them can do it. When it comes to deep research, ChatGPT is the best. The rest of them can do it, right? So it's a whole lot. And you can see when it comes to web search, Perplexity is the best, right? And you can even see it here. Search, web search, browsing, Perplexity is the best LLM. You get it? So we have model picker, right? So whenever you have a task to do, make sure you select the best model to do what you are supposed to do, right? Now, there's one other thing that we have to know as well, which is the limitations of AI. We have hallucinations. Hallucination is when AI confidently invents false information, and not just false information. Sometimes you want it to do A, but then it is doing B. You want it to do C, but then it is doing D, right? It's all part of AI hallucinations, right? And we also have knowledge cutoff dates. So because we mentioned here that a large language model, right, is a type of artificial intelligence program that recognize and generate text among other tasks. LLMs are trained on huge sets of data. So based on the training dates, right, it's there will be cut off. So if the system was trained on past data from 2020 from 2024 backward, right, it might not be able to give you very good responses when it comes to context in 2025. So that is why these systems have now integrated web search. So if you go to Claude even has web search. If you go to ChatGPT, has web search and all that. So the reason why they are doing web search is because people create content. So if it's a content in 2025, definitely someone might have written something about it. So if you activate the web search feature, it would be able to crawl the internet and give you current data. So if you know the information you are looking for is not available, right? It's not available based on the training date, you can activate the web search feature. The AI system would crawl the internet, find matching results, and make a summary on it, right? Yes. And one other thing is that it can't reason like humans, right? We are transitioning into an AI world where we want to do this. We want to make this realistic, right? So very soon it will be possible. Good. Now at this point, we've done the basics we need. We know what prompt engineering is. We know how LLMs work, and we also know some key concepts when it comes to AI basics. Good. Now I want to show you guys something. This is a paradigm shift. Most of us use AI systems like how we query Google, right? Now I want you to see something, and it's something that most of us do, right? Now this is a very bad prompt, right, about marketing. Now the reason why it's a bad prompt is because one, it is generic, right? And because these large language models have been trained on large data, when you talk about the topic marketing, it has been trained on large data when it comes to marketing. So what exactly do you want to understand about marketing? What type of marketing are you talking about? Is it email marketing? Is it digital marketing? What type of marketing are you looking at? Right? So it's going to make the AI give you a very random response, and that is not good. You get it? But let's look at this. A very good prompt here. The role: act as a B2B marketing director with 10 years of experience. Your task is to create a LinkedIn post. And the context is our SaaS. SaaS is software as a service. Our SaaS product just hit 10K users, targeting startup founders. Format: 150 words, include 3 hashtags, casual but professional tone. Constraints: don't use emojis, avoid corporate jargon. So although this is a good prompt, but I won't say it's the best. It's a good prompt, but I won't say it's the best. At least it is better than this, because with this you were able to specify the role, you gave the task, you gave the context, you gave the format, and you gave the constraints. And this is a very good prompt. It's going to give you a good response as compared to this, because with this you are specifying that the type of marketing you are doing is business to business marketing. You get it? But this writes about marketing is very, very generalized. You get it? Good. So I want you guys to see something here. I have something we call the specificity ladder, right? Now, this is more like a funnel, right? I know you guys have used funnels before. Now, when you check on top of the funnel, it's the analogy is more like it takes the on top, it takes large. So let's say you place a funnel in, let's say, a bottle, right? And you open a tap into it. The top part would accumulate more water than the bottom. You get it? So we are trying to make an analysis that the top part means generic, right? It's generalized and not specific. Let's search what is the meaning of generic. What is the meaning of generic? So generic refers to the members of a whole class of things. A generic word for any soft blah blah blah. A generic product. Okay, so I want this. There's nothing distinctive or unique about it, right? So realize that this prompt, there's nothing unique about it because marketing is very broad. So this is generic, right? So write an email. It's very generic. There's nothing unique about it. You get it? Now, when it gets deeper, we now move on to detailed, right? So write a follow-up email to a client. So you are making it a bit detailed, right? And constrained. Write 100-word follow-up email. Do you get it? So this is it. Write 100-word follow-up email to a client who ghosted us after the demo. Okay, so use friendly tone, include a calendar link. So you get it. So whenever you are creating a prompt, try and have this analogy in mind, right? Make your prompt more specific to get a very good response, right? Good. So at this point, we know what bad prompt is and we know what a good prompt is. Now we are going to build on top of what a good prompt is so we can learn how to write the most professional prompts. Good. So now let me link this to this. Let me link this to this so that's okay. So now I would want us to look at something very interesting here. So this is module 2. We are done with module 1, right? So we know what a prompt is. We know what engineering is. We know what prompt engineering is. We know how LLMs work. We've explained some key concepts when it comes to AI basics, right? We learned model picker, how to choose the right model for the right work, right? We also looked at the capabilities of the most popular AI tools. Now we are moving on to module 2. Module 2 is a build-up of good prompts, right? So now everything we are going to do in module 2 is geared towards how we are going to write very good prompts. Now, the first thing I would want you guys to know is I want us to know something here. Anatomy of a very good prompt, right? Now you have to know this before you can jump onto writing good prompts, right? Now the first one is clear, objective. Be specific. Be specific. That is it. It's like I meet you by the roadside and I ask you, hey, tell me about yourself. That's just that. You realize that usually when people ask you to tell them about yourself, you sometimes ask for criteria. What's the criteria? Like, because you want them to be specific so you can introduce yourself properly. You get it? Because the way I would introduce myself in a business setting would be very different from how I would introduce myself when I meet a lady, right? So let's say I want to meet a lady and I want to have a vibe with her, right? How I would introduce myself would be very different from how I would introduce myself when I'm in a business setting. So you would have to apply that here. You have to be specific. So give it a clear objective, right? Define the scope. Now, there's something we call context engineering. What is context engineering? What is context engineering? So just like how we learned prompt engineering, let's look at something we call context engineering. Now, context engineering is the practice of designing systems that decide what information an AI model sees before it generates a response. Good. So when we talk about context engineering, it's more like you give it a prompt, then you give it a context. So let's say if you wanted to generate a LinkedIn post, maybe you saw someone's post, the person's post is performing very well. The person's post has about 1,000 has about 1,000 comments with about 2,000 likes and then 500 reposts. You realize that, wow, this LinkedIn content is performing very well. How do I steal this person's style of writing? So you can copy the content and you make it as you can add it as a context in your prompt. So when the AI is working on the response, it is going to give you a response directed towards the psychological trick the writer used when he or she was creating that LinkedIn content. You get it? Good. So someone say, even though the term is new, the principles behind context engineering have existed for quite a while, right? Yes, just that you might not have sent your mind there, right? Good. So you can give it contextual background. So let's say relevant information, persona, or even constraints. So when we say persona, persona simply means let's put it this way, more like a person. So act like the most experienced graphic designer, acts as the most experienced copywriter and LinkedIn content creator, acts like the most experienced photo editor. So you are giving it a persona. So just like what we did here, right? We were like, acts as a B2B marketing director. So this is a persona. This is a persona, right? Good. So let's take note of that. Now, good. So contextual background, you can give it explicit instructions, right? So you can give it the format, you can give it the tone, right? So you can even give it examples and data, and then yes, so that's it, right? Basically. But then you guys should be careful about the kind of data you give to AI systems. Now, there's a concept called shadow AI. So shadow AI basically means the application of the use of AI tools not being approved by organizations or IT departments, right? So let me confirm that. What is shadow AI? So yes, shadow AI is when employees adopt AI tools outside IT oversight to complete tasks like drafting content, analyzing data, or automating workflows, often to boost productivity. So the reason is you might publicly expose sensitive data, and that might cause the company a lot of, it might cost the company. You get it? So be careful the kind of data you make available to AI system, because such data could be stored on external servers and you are making it publicly available. It can pose security risks as well. So let's take note of that. Right? Good. So we now understand the anatomy of a very good prompt, right? Now I want you guys to see something real quick here. This is an anatomy of a GATE prompt. So we are using the GATE framework. Now, when we talk about framework, I know some of you are able confused when it comes to um, frameworks. So frameworks help you do things in a very structured way. You get it? So let's say you've gone for an interview and you are being asked a competency-based question. You can use the STAR framework to answer it so that you don't beat about the bush. So the STAR framework, S stands for the situation, T stands for the task you did, A stands for the action, and R stands for the results. So when you are giving your answer to the interviewer, you speak in a structured way. You get it? Good. So let me ask this: why do we need frameworks? Why do we need frameworks? Let's see what we need. So frameworks are a huge help to developers in designing products. No, this is more. So it's giving me more. Okay, so how do you use in everyday life? Okay, yeah. So let me see if this can give me. Okay, maybe you guys can search it out later, right? So basically frameworks help you do things in a structured way, right? Good. So this is the GATE prompt, right? So G stands for goal, A stands for actor, I stands for instructions, and T stands for template. Good. So let's quickly read this prompt and let's see what it's doing. So you want to design a 5-slide carousel for LinkedIn that explains how a founder used AI to automate their cold outreach process and grew from 0 to 100 leads in 30 days. So that is the goal. This is the actor. So you have to give it a persona. So you are a B2B SaaS copywriter who creates high converting, scroll stopping content for LinkedIn using storytelling and positioning framework. So this is the actor. Now you give it instructions. So these are the instructions. Break down the founder's journey into a 5-part story arc. Emphasize results, processes, and lessons learned, not features. Use short, bold statements to fit the carousel slides and make the tone confident and educational. Avoid hype. End with a compelling CTA to DM or follow. Good. So this is the instruction you give it, and this is a sample template. You get it? So this is an example of a well-structured prompt, because the reason why it's well-structured is because it's following a framework, which is the GATE framework. Good. Now, there's another framework you can use, right? The role, the task, the context, the reasoning, the output, and conditions. You get it? So you can do it step by step. I know some of you are worried how some of you might be asking, so how would I be able to know the right words to use? How would I be able to know the kind of persona to use and all that? Don't worry. I want you guys to get the concept here. I'll teach you guys a simple trick to know all these things, to be able to do all these things, right? Good. Now, there are some frameworks here that I want to explain real quick. Then we move on to real world application. So we are going to use a prompt to do an image generation task, content creation, vibe coding, and then learning and research. Good. So we have a lot of things to do, right? So let's quickly move on with the targets we have for today, right? Good. So the first framework we are going to look at is called the RACEF framework, or you can say the RACEF framework. So the RACEF framework, R stands for role, A stands for action, C stands for context, E stands for example, and then F stands for the format. So let's look at an example. Act as a UX writer for a fintech app. So UX simply means user experience. So usually we have UI UX designers. So they are the ones who design how the system would look like, how the app would look like, and all that. So you are to act as a UX writer for a fintech app, right? So that is the role. Now the action. So write push notification copy, and this is the context. Users haven't completed the profile setup. And the example, like complete your profile in 2 minutes, not profile incomplete. Format, 3 variations under 40 characters each. So this is an example of a prompt that uses the RACEF framework. Now, when you are writing the prompt, it doesn't mean you have to do the role. No, it's just here because I want you guys to see how it looks like, right? So when you are writing, you write it as a complete sentence without these things, right? Good. Now, another one is called chain of thought prompting. So chain of thought prompting is asking AI to show its reasoning process step by step before giving a final answer. So you see, the thing is that sometimes there are certain prompts that when you give to AI systems, it can cause it to hallucinate. So if let's say it's a problem that requires complex thinking, or it's a problem that requires math or logic, as well as strategic planning and let's say debugging issues, you can use the chain of thought prompting so that you make the AI reason step by step before giving the final answer. Get so let's see why it works. It forces the AI to think through the problem. It's able to catch errors and show transparent reasoning. So now let's look at something. You can use these phrases as part of the prompt so that you can activate the chain of thoughts action, right? So you can say think step by step, or show your reasoning, explain your thought process, or break this into steps. You get it? Good. So let's look at an example of such prompt and let's see how we can apply it. So you are analyzing why our website conversions dropped 30%. So when you talk about website conversions, it's more like you've designed a website, right? You would have visitors on the site. The goal is that once someone visits your website, you are supposed to convert the visitor into a client. So there are certain strategies that you use when you are aligning. There are certain strategies to use to make sure you write very good content on your website such that it's going to convert visitors to clients. You get it? So the task we are doing here is you are analyzing why our website conversions dropped 30%. Good. So think step by step. So this is a phrase you can use for chain of thought words prompting. What are three possible causes? How would you test each hypothesis? Show your reasoning for each step. Good. So this is chain of thought prompting. So it's going to cause the AI to think step by step, to reason step by step, and give you a very good response. Right? Good. So that's it. You realize that the reason why we are using this chain of thought prompt is because we are making an analysis. This response, we need the AI to analyze before giving us the response, not just giving any general response. Right? Good. Now, there's one thing that is also very interesting to me, which is called the few shot learning. Now, few shot learning basically means providing 2 to 5 examples of desired input or output pairs to teach your AI your preferred style. So with this, it's very simple. So let's say you have a way of writing on X, right? So the people that follow you know your voice. They know that when um you write content, there's a particular voice behind it. So what you can do is that you can give you the AI systems sample of your content, right? Sample of the output of how you write your content. Then it's going to create the content around that based on your voice and based on the structure, right? So you can use few shot learning when you want to match specific writing styles, when you want consistent formatting. So let's say you have templates, right? You have a template already, so you can upload a template and then the AI would work it out in that same direction for you. Tone calibration, I've already mentioned that. Pattern recognition tasks, and when explaining is harder than showing, right? So you can use few shot learning. Good. So let's look at an example of a few short learning prompt, right? So write customer support replies in this style. Example one. So this is Q and this is A. So question, so more like Q&A, right? So where's my order? So answer, hey, tracking shows it will arrive Tuesday. Here is your link. Then it will insert the URL. Example two. Can I return this? Answer, absolutely. You've got 30 days. Need a return label? Good. Now write a reply for how do I change my subscription? So this is the actual question, right? This is the actual question for the AI system. So it is going to give you an answer based on what it learns from the examples you gave it. So this is an example of few shot learning, right? Now there's something we also call negative prompting. Negative prompting. Now, you see, the thing is that when you give AI systems, when you query AI systems, right, it will be able to give you responses. Now, these AI systems also have their way of rolling out content to you. We live we live in a world where I even created a content on it recently. You can check it out on LinkedIn. You can check Gosinentry on LinkedIn. I wrote a recent content on why people think the long dash, right there, the long hyphen, is also called the M dash, EM dash, right? People think that when they see the long dash, the long hyphen in the content, it was automatically generated by AI. So that's the perception right now, but then it's false. People have been using this long hyphen for a long time, decades before. You get it? Good. So if you want to avoid that in your content, you can tell it not to do that. So negative prompting explicitly tells AI what not to include or do in its response. Good. So let's say you even wanted to avoid AI AI words like repeating AI words like game changer, empower, and the rest, right? Empowerment and the rest, tapestry and all these things, right? I'm not saying they are not good, but then they are more kind of frequent in AI responses. You get it? So you can tell it to avoid such responses as well, right? Good. So um, let's look at this. Write a product description for wireless earbuds. Don't use don't use words like revolutionary, game changing, cutting edge. Realize that these words are frequently used by AI systems. Let's see if there's a name. What name is given to AI frequent words? Let's see. Um, I think let me see what's general term. Let me see if there is. I'm pretty sure there will be. Um, maybe not. Okay. Well, maybe later on we can research about it. I just wanted to see if there is, so we see how we can make it clear. Don't use generic features lists, right? Focus on specific. So you see, do and don't, right? Focus on specific user benefits with concrete examples. Good. So at this point, we've been able to tackle some frameworks to use when it comes to prompt engineering, right? Good. So you guys can I'll share this whiteboard with you guys. You guys can go through them, right? So the best time to use the RASEF framework, the best time to use chain of thought, etc., etc. Good. Now, there's one last thing under module 2, which is prompt chaining. This one is a very, very smart way of prompting, right? So let's make sure we understand it very well. So prompt chaining is basically using the output of one prompt as the input for the next prompt in a sequence, right? So you use prompt chaining when you have multiple step workflows, when you have pipelines, when you have very complex tasks, right? When you have when the single prompt would be too long or complex, right? When the prompt is too long, you can use prompt chaining, right? Good. So let's look at this example. So let's say we want to create a blog post, right? And we want to use the prompt chaining technique. Now, let's look at the prompt very well. Research 5 trends in remote work for 2025. Create a bullet list with data sources. So this is the prompt. This is the prompt, right? So this is the first prompt. So because we are using prompt chaining, which is using the output of one prompt as the input for the next prompt, right, in a sequence, based on the response that this prompt is going to give you, you copy the output, right, and you paste it here. So using these trends, so based on the trends that the first prompt created, when you copied it, you paste it here. Then you tell it to create a blog outline with 5 sections, each with 3 sub points. Now, this particular prompt is also going to give you an output. So this prompt was able to do the research. This prompt was able to give you the outline. Now we copy the output of the outline and we now paste it as part of this prompt. Write section 1 from this outline. Then you paste the outline from the output of this prompt. 600 words, conversational tone, include 1 stat per paragraph. You get it? So this is an example of prompt chaining technique, right? We can make the prompts very detailed, but for the sake of time, we just want to understand the concepts, then we know how we can apply it. All right, good. So at this point, we've been able to understand what a good prompt is, what prompt engineering is, how to select the right model, the specificity ladder, good and bad prompt anatomy, prompt frameworks, and all that. Good. Now, we now have the fundamentals. We have the most important things to know, right, when it comes to prompt engineering. Now, right after this recording, this live YouTube session, we are going to give you guys a PDF to read, right? It will contain additional concepts when it comes to prompt engineering, right? An example is how you can structure your content, how you can break your prompt into sections, right? And all that. There are content around it. Good. So we are going to look at something, right? We are going to do real world application here. But before we do that, I would want us to explore some GPTs. Some GPTs we can use to write very good prompts. So the thing is, you can use AI to optimize your prompts. You get it? Good. So there's this system called prompt maker. So this is prompt maker, right? So this is prompt maker. So you can check out prompt maker on ChatGPT. So one of the best things that ChatGPT can do is that it gives you wide range of GPTs, right? So custom GPT, so a custom GPT for, let's say, creating prompts, a custom GPT for writing LinkedIn post, a specific GPT for, or a custom GPT for, let's say, image generation and all that. You get it? So when you check this prompt maker GPT, it says from a single prompt to an optimized prompt, right? So let's try it out. You can copy this link directly and you can get to see that, right? So okay, so kindly give me some few. I want to check out something real quick. Real quick. Um okay. So we have ChatGPT, right? Good. So one thing is that when you check the left pane, right? When you check this side, the sidebar, you can see GPTs, right? So GPTs, you can go to explore. So when you go to explore, you will see a whole lot of cost. You get it. So example is um data analyst, drop in any files and I can help analyze and visualize your data. Seconds with free credits, right? So these are custom GPTs you can explore. Right. So I want us to look for prompt maker. Was built by Ruben Hassid, right? And it's more like a GPT which is used to optimize prompts. Yeah. So I want us to check this out real quick. How we can use doing. Good. So we are going to try out prompt maker. We are going to see how prompt maker works. Okay. Good. So you can see prompt maker from a simple prompt to an optimized prompt. So this is what you can see. Optimize this prompt for me. This prompt for me. I want to write a LinkedIn post. A LinkedIn post that stops the scroll and that stops the scroll, or let's say that stops people from scrolling to read. This is just trial, right? The grammar is not important. We just wanted to do something before some people come and attack me, right? um the LinkedIn content should follow the framework top LinkedIn content creators use. Example. So let's say hook under 45 characters, um comma, rehook under 40 characters, under 40 characters, let me see, white space, rehook under 45 characters, listicles, short bold, one line sentences, sentences, conversational tone, medium length content, powerful call to actions, and call to engagement, etc. Right. So when you give it this, it is going to optimize the prompt for you. So realize that it is generating the prompts, right, for you. So this one is using the role, task, requirement, context, and constraints. So look at how it generated a prompt. Act like an expert LinkedIn copywriting strategist and top performing creator coach. Your goal is to help me craft a high retention LinkedIn post that immediately stops the scroll, hooks the reader twice, maintains attention through magnetic formatting, and ends with a compelling call to action and call to engagement. The post must blah blah blah. So you realize that it has been able to generate a very good prompt for you. So when you copy this prompt and you paste it into ChatGPT, sorry, let's use Claude, right? So we mentioned that Claude is good when it comes to writing. So we can paste that here, and then Claude will be able to generate the response for you. You get it? Good. So let's look at this. But you see, the thing is that we were not specific at a point, right? We didn't give it the topic to generate the content on. So it was like, share your core idea and I'll craft 2 to 3 variations from your test. So write about best strategies to use in prompt engineering. You get it? So it will write a very good LinkedIn post for you. So look at this very well. See, this is so amazing. I wasted 6 months writing bad prompts. So this is the hook. And the real hook is like, then I learned these 5 rules. Most people treat AI like Google. That's why they get generic garbage. Here's what actually works. Then it's going to give you you get it. So you realize that this will convert better than say, let's say, go to ChatGPT and write a LinkedIn content. We are trying to use a bad prompt, right? Write a LinkedIn content on best strategies to use, best strategies for prompt engineering. Let's see what it does. So look at this. Okay, so make it one full content. Okay, Okay, so this says stop wasting time on bad prompts. Yes, you probably are. Want your AI to finally get you? Here's how top prompt engineers do it. The first rule. You realize that this is this sounds more robotic. It's like AI actually wrote this as compared to this. You see, when you say I wasted 6 months writing bad prompt, people will feel like it's something personal. So you are more like sharing a personal story. You get it? So you make it conversational and you give it a human tone. But this one, it's more like it's very robotic. See, and the best hidden trick, ask AI to improve your own prompt. Seriously, I mean, it's very robotic. You get it? Good. So this is why prompt engineering is very important, right? This is why prompt engineering is very, very important. Good. So we've been able to explore prompt maker, right? But then one thing I also want you guys to know is that I just discovered this recently, right? Most AI systems have um prompts that they are optimized for. So there are some prompts that are optimized for Claude. There are some prompts that are optimized for ChatGPT. So as part of your prompt, when you want Prompt Maker to optimize your prompt for you, you can tell it to optimize the prompt for Claude so that when you are using Claude, Claude would give you a very good response. You get it? Yeah. So you can research that as well. Good. So at this point, we've been able to tackle the most important parts. Right, the rest of them will be given to you as a PDF file to read. Right. Good. So we are going to apply, we are going to do some real world applications here. Right. So the first one is image generation. Now, when it comes to image generation, the best AI tool you can use is Google Gemini, which is Nano Banana, which I have here. So you can search Nano Banana. So Nano Banana, right? Then you look for Google AI Studio. So Gemini 2.5 Flash Image, Nano Banana, right? Good. But then what I'm doing is you can also use Google Gemini and you can activate the image functionality, right? Good. So you can go to get started. Go to get started. Then you see the interface. You can now give it your prompts, right? Then you take it from there, right? So try Nano Banana. Okay, so try Nano Banana and all that. Okay, all right. So now let's try this real quick. Right, to create a realistic image. You get it? So let's look for God. Let's see if God is on the internet. Let's look for God. George Edudako. Before that, we can copy. We can copy his picture, right? Now we are going to create a realistic image around his picture, right? So we will take his picture and then we are going to edit it with Nano Banana, right? We are going to give it a realistic background and all that, right? Good. So let's now do it here. Okay, still loading, right? Okay, okay, we have some of his image here. Okay, all right, good. So let's use prompt maker to create the prompts, right? Okay, so acts as the most experienced prompt engineer and help me generate a very professional prompt for the task below. I want to edit this image and add a very good background as if I am speaking to a large congregation. God likes politics, so let's give him this: a large congregation, blah blah blah. So I can add the image, right? So I just copy and pasted it here, right? The image should look so real that there will be no there will be no AI traces. So this is just a simple prompt. So we are giving it from a simple prompt to what? An optimized prompt. Good. So optimize the prompts for Google Gemini, because that's what we are using. Google Gemini Nano Banana. Good. So he has been able to generate a very good prompt for you, right? So act like an elite prompt engineer and multimodal generation expert specializing in creating photorealistic AI trace-free edits for Google Gemini Nano Banana. Good. So realize that here it's kind of adding the Google Gemini Nano Banana, which ideally we are not supposed to do that, because we are going to use Google Gemini Nano Banana to create the image, right? Good. So the best thing we can do is you just copy the prompt, right? And then go to your Nano Banana, Google Gemini, right? Paste the prompt and send it. It is going to, because it's telling it to act like an elite prompt engineer, Google Gemini would create a prompt for this task based on what it is best at doing. So Gemini itself will create an optimized prompt for itself. Good. So Google Gemini is saying something here. The optimized Gemini prompt. Copy and paste the following instructions directly into the prompt box along with your image. You get it? So this is it. Primary objective, blah 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 blah. So realize that this prompt looks a bit different from what we were expecting, right? So so let me copy this, right? Let me copy this, create a new chart, and select image. Right, you guys can. I'm using the Pro, right? Google Gemini Pro. You guys, if you're a student, right? I'm not a student. If you're a student, you can use your student email to create an account. Do it real quick because there's a deadline for it. It's a 1 year plan, right? So paste the prompt and then paste the image. So this is the image, right? Let's paste the image as well. So let's see what happens. So let's see what Nano Banana will do while it's working on it, right? Let's edit something here. You see, prompting is more like an iterative process as well, right? So sometimes you have to read a prompt before you make it go out, because sometimes the AI can hallucinate based on the task, the series of actions that you want it to do. It might add its own thing and all that. So you have to read and edit, right? So make changes to the prompt. It is supposed to generate an image response. Not an optimized prompt. Because I'm not saying, I know some of you might get a bit confused here. Good. Because here it was saying that act like an elite prompt engineer. So this prompt is going to create another prompt. So realize that when we posted it on Google Gemini, it created an optimized prompt. You get it? So now make the full prompt as one. Let's see what happens. So let me copy this, right? Paste it here. And then use the initial paste this here, right? And let's see the final output of the prompt. Okay, so this is the prompt. It has given you a prompt. Edit the provided image by replacing the background with a large photorealistic auditorium or mega chat setting, blah blah blah. Right. So let's see what it generated here. Okay. Okay. So realize that the picture still looks real, right? It didn't change his face or something. It looks real. But then this is not what we are looking for. We want it to look like he's speaking to them, right? So let's see what this one can do. So this one is saying edit the provided image by replacing the background with a large photorealistic auditorium, blah blah blah. Okay, so make it as if he is speaking at an auditorium. Okay, so edit the provided image by replacing the background with a large. Okay, so it's saying if you like, I can also produce version optimized for. Okay, so let's make it optimize it for Gemini Advanced because that's what we are using. Okay, so you realize that this is Gemini Advanced final image editing prompt for the image, right? So let's copy this, let's paste this here, right? And let's look for a picture that he was speaking to. Okay, he was speaking at an auditorium, or let's say a place or something. Okay, so let's say this one, right? Because this one it looks like he was speaking. Okay, but you see with this one, the picture doesn't look so. The picture doesn't look so good. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to copy this. We are going to give it examples. So future learning. So we give it examples of God's face, right? So that it doesn't hallucinate. This picture looks so blurred. It's going to affect the output, but let's just use it. I don't think I've opened Instagram on my. It's going to be a long process. Okay, let's copy this as well. What else? What else? What else? Okay. I think it's enough. Okay, it's okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, so while it's working on it, let's move on to the next task, right? We've done something around content creation, right? One of the tasks that would give to you guys is would make you guys will give you some top LinkedIn content creators, and then we'll make you guys copy some of their content. Then you get to use AI to analyze the psychological triggers that were used behind the content, right? And all the copywriting techniques that were used. Then you're going to use AI to learn from it and generate an optimized prompt to write like those content, those high performing content. I've tried one, but because of time, we wouldn't be able to try another one. So the next thing we are going to do is vibe coding, right? So I would explain that real quick before we move on. But let's see if it has been able to generate. Okay, So, well, this doesn't really look like God. It doesn't really look like God per se. Now, you can refine it, right? You can refine it and still make it look like Him, right? Yeah. But then at least we've been able to accomplish a task, right? Yeah, even with this one alone, right? It didn't change his face. You get it. But then when you look at this, you know that it was AI generated, right? So you guys can play around with Gemini. You can use any of these prompt makers to optimize your prompts and all that, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's enough for image generation, right? Now I want you guys to learn something real quick about vibe coding. So what is vibe coding? So now when we talk about vibe coding describes a workflow where the primary role shifts from writing code line by line to guiding an AI assistant to generate, refine, and debug an application through a more conversational process. Yeah, so the thing is, you might not have any knowledge on coding. So you don't know how to develop a website, the front end of a website, and all that, right? You can use Lovable, right? You can use Lovable to create a front end. You get it? So let's um let's use prompt maker to generate a new prompt, right? I want a very good prompt that will help Lovable create a very good web app for my e-commerce. Okay, no, let's use a simple one. A very good portfolio website for me. My name is God. So let's give it some few context, right? Let me see what I can do. My name is God. I am. What should I use? I'm a chemical engineer. By the way, my name is not God. I'm just using an example, right? Yes, I'm a chemical engineer. Um, attach projects, make the website convert, right? It should make sales for me. Right? Use website copywriting techniques. The website should be very modern with clean and minimalistic designs as if it was designed and built by Google's development team. So we are going to use prompts maker to generate this prompt, right? But then okay, so you've reached your limit for using GPT, blah blah blah. Okay, let's copy this prompt and let's make Claude itself optimize the prompt for us. Optimize this prompt. So we paste it here, we tell Claude to optimize the prompt. So let's see what Claude will do. Right. So Claude will give you a prompt. Good. Okay. Let's do one last thing. Optimize it 100%. 100% and add all important features. Okay, so you can see you are a world-class UX strategist, full stack developer, and conversation copywriter. Create a complete production-ready portfolio website specification for GARD, a chemical engineer. Right. Okay. So later on, you can add yourself if there's time, right? You can add your projects, you can add your mission, your vision, and all that. Like you can add your personal content, right, to the prompt. Good. So let's copy this prompt. Let's paste it in Lovable, right? So you just go to lovable.dev and you create an account. You get it. Good. So let's remove this one. It's not needed. And let's remove the last part. Okay. Let's see what it does for you. So Lovable is going to build, so you can enable notification so that when it's done, it will give us a notification sound. Yeah, it gives us a notification sound that it is done. You get it. Good. So allow. Good. So Lovable is going to do what? It's going to take some time, right? So once I hear the notification, I'll move back to what we are doing. So at this point, we've been able to tackle image generation, content creation, vibe coding. Now we have learning and research. Now for learning and research, I want to introduce you guys to the learning and research. I want to introduce you guys to this concept called ELI5. So ELI5 or ELI5